Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be talking about the Frankencastle, and he actually went into a mini reverse cycle that I had with Dracula, because the initial tidbit of information made me incredibly more skeptical about Dracula as I should have been, in my opinion, because it mentioned the slowing down combos and stuff like that. And again, I personally think that is the stuff that always involves getting parried and an error. So I don't think it's like a good positive for a champion how. But after watching the full deep dive and reading the full abilities of Dracula, I was kind of like, well, you just don't have to slow your combo down. It's not like a needed thing for the most part. You might be able to squeeze out a little bit of extra damage if you do slow the combos down, but then you're building power slower and axing your special slower. So I don't think it's like that crucial anyways there. So I actually now I'm kind of hopeful for Dracula. With Frankencastle, the initial gameplay bits look kind of cool. Then when I looked the full deep dive and broke his abilities down further, I am kind of more skeptical about him, and I have my worries. So let's take a look at, first of all, how his rotation looks like, and then see how it seems to us. So the first thing you notice with him, you do have unstoppables, access to incinerate. And well, also his willpower can, his regen rating cannot be reduced, so he basically bypasses Despair Mastery, and he's going to be dealing Incinerate damage and bursts of energy damage. So Incinerate immunity is going to be like a big problem for him, which is, well, not ideal, but okay. Here, base damage loop effectively is level 2, level 1, and that is how you get the big bursts of damage. There are issues though, because as we can see in this and many other clips, effectively in order to kind of like play him the way he's intended, you have to get hit. And whilst he has ways how to regain health and has damage mitigations, very few champions ever in the history of this game have done well if you plan on getting hit. And I'm not sure Frank's gonna be one of those. As a big reason for that is not necessarily just the damage you take, but also all the bad things that are happening. A ton of champions applying debuffs on you, or damage over time effects, or boosting their own abilities, or gaining their own buffs. And it is one of those things that's getting hit on purpose is significantly more punishing than it initially seems, even if you can recover health, is what I'm trying to say. Even the counterpunch champions, like, Thanos, stuff like that, it is a weakness in their playstyle. The fact that you have to take a hit on the block. Because of the block damage is one thing, and because of the chip damage adding up to it. But that's infinitely better than actually getting hit in the face, because in this game, a ton of abilities activate when you get hit in the face. Right. So having said that, let us break him down. Prestige-wise, I don't think there's anything special. He does have 4 in survivability and 4 in damage. But again, that 4 in survivability, I think, is kind of counter-reacted with the idea that I'm getting smacked in the face. How potent his regen abilities are, that will, need to be tested out. But I don't think this is like a clean 4, in the sense that, for instance, Dracula had less there, but he has regen. And as long as you don't make any mistakes, I'd reckon, he can recover, more health without being forced to take damage. Damage 4, okay, that looks good. We'll see how that actually is. Ease of use, it's marked down as 3.5. Fair enough, I suppose. Utility 3.5, defender strength, so he's not going to be a defender. Again, fair enough. So a skill attacker, which is something that we do need in this game. Is a lumbering and devastating skill attacker that becomes unstoppable when automatically starts to run forward, then pummels his opponent. And that's the other thing. His playstyle is fairly unique in the sense that you don't rush in at opponent, you do not go for an intercept. You basically dash back and immediately start walking forwards, wait for your opponent to smack you in the face, and then hit the opponent. Not entirely sure how well that is going to go down with the player base. His attacker summary. Gain Berserk passives by building up combo or using specials 1 or 2 or heavy attack. Frank doesn't idle after dodging back and will immediately start to run. When Frank starts to run, he becomes unstoppable until he stops. While unstoppable, Frank's second basic attack crushes the opponent, so you can hit through opponent's block. Use heavy attacks and specials 2 and 3 to inflict incinerates. You don't really want to use special 3, but special 2 is good. And then special 1 damage scales with incinerates on opponent. So level 2, level 1 damage loop, ideally. Defender summary, immune to poison, petrify, and spectre, so you can't really mess with his regeneration too much outside of some, unique abilities or willpower. Heals with willpower and gains rage when struck while unstoppable. After a slight delay, Frank becomes unstoppable when he starts to run. When awakened, gain undying passive. It's just kind of extending fight. It's not too big of a thing to mention in my opinion. But okay. So, Dr. Morbinstein's monster, always active. The reanimation process grants immunity to poison, petrify, and spectre effects. This also sets Frank's regeneration rate to 65% and prevents it from being reduced any further. So, cool. You can't reverse his regen. He would be very good in this meta, just FYI. So, heal block is still a thing, and that's about it. Being too angry to die grants Frank 1 rank in the willpower mastery. Yeah, okay, so on defense, he will have willpower. When struck by a basic attack while unstoppable or when shocked, Frank gains non-stacking rage debuff for 20 seconds. With rage, Frank's basic attacks hits passively convert a flat 10% more adrenaline to health. So this is one of the ways how you're going to be recovering more health. But again, the adrenaline and doesn't recover all of it, and you're still effectively net minus there. And then you're kind of hoping for the willpower mastery to make up the difference. When Frank is inflicted with non-damaging debuff other than rage, his combo meter gains 2 hits. When Frank's combo meter crosses multiple of 15, he gains a berserk passive for 20 seconds, paused during his special attacks max attack 6. So this is his ramp up mechanic effectively. Unstoppable machine. While running, Frank does not idle after dodging back and gains an unstoppable passive for 0.7 seconds when he starts to run. This will not re-trigger while active and is paused while running, charging heavy attacks or attacking. Frank's unstoppable also grants him 30% combat adrenaline, and it prevents incoming basic attacks from resetting his combo meter, and as an attacker it also grants him stun immunity. This is actually kind of nice. Add on the stun immunity. And as an attacker, Frank also gains unstoppable when he's struck by a basic attack immediately after dodging back. He also gains it plus ability to run immediately after blocking the final hit of opponent's special attack. So he will not idle after them, and you can straight up run. But again, blocking opponent's special attacks, getting hit in the face, that all invites taking damage, right? And quite cautious about that, to say the least. This unstoppable immediately removed at end of Frank's heavy or special attacks and when opponent activates a special. Okay. Rushing blows during Frank's unstoppable. On hit or block as a defender, when Frank's second basic attack inflicts indefinite crash passive until his unstoppable expires. That is, how you can block break with him. That's going to be quite annoying on defense as well, I suppose, if you don't land that parry immediately. When Frank's crash ends after being used to break a block, it goes on cooldown for 20 seconds. Or until he gains one of his berserk passives, fair enough. Internal combustion, heavy attack. On hit, Frank's heavy attack inflicts an incinerate debuff that deals X amount of energy damage over 20 seconds. Pause during his special attacks, max attacks 4. On hit or block, Frank's heavy attack also adds 4 hits to the combo meter. So you will want those extra incinerates in combination with your level 2 for level 1 to do a lot of damage. So special 1, first hit grants Frank a personal berserk, so extra attack rating. On final 3 hits, Frank deals a burst of X amount of energy damage with his base potency increased by 12.5% flat for each of the incinerates on the opponent. And level 2, 4 berserk charges, and on the final hit refreshes all of Frank's incinerates and then inflicts 8 incinerate debuffs that each deal X amount of damage over 30 seconds. Pause during special attacks, max attacks 8, so you can get up to 12 in total. And again, so the damage rotation is level 2, level 1, which in general I think is fair. It's a fine, solid damage rotation. Special attack 3 is alive. Frank gains 15% of missing health, adds adrenaline, and passively stuns the opponent for 3 seconds. For the next 10 seconds, Frank's light attacks and medium attacks all inflict one of the incinerates from his special 2. And then there's signature ability. When Frank activates special attack, he gains Undying passive for 10 seconds. If this Undying prevents him from getting knocked out, he gains his personal rage debuff for 20 seconds. Frank gains X amount of critical rating for each non-damaging debuff he's suffering from, up to 10. By default, this could be at least one increase from the rage. While the opponent is incinerated, Frank gains energy penetration, doubled while fighting science champions, so that kind of like helps you deal with the resistances. And that is his kit. And again, outside of level 3, you don't have a way to kind of like gain your extra adrenaline or extra regeneration, so you're entirely relying on the willpower. You can place one debuff on yourself in a generic matchup. So to me, it kind of sounds and looks like he will highly rely on the non-damaging debuffs that are placed by science champions on him to be able to do the fights with net positive health. And that is how it seemed to me. So in science class, like when you get hit, you get a debuff on you. That means you have 2 willpower heals working for you, not affected by despair mastery. And that is how you can recover your health. I think that immediately makes a champion fairly narrow, because outside of science class and a few other exceptions, in general, the number 1 will invite dot placed on you, which you can't recover, and which will deal damage to you after that hit, and it doesn't affect adrenaline. It will again trigger different abilities, and then many champions don't really inflict that many non-damaging debuffs, and in that case, I'm very interested to see the equation of how much damage I take and how long it takes for you to recover it with having a single stack of willpower working for you. That is the big worry here. So willpower, well, Frank always benefits from rank 1 of this mastery, bringing willpower rank 2 or 3 benefit him even more, increasing his amount of health regenerated and armor gain per unique debuff. Recovery, sure. Inequity and despair, that's kind of self-explanatory. Should be, again, good recall and liquid courage champion, allegedly. So that's kind of interesting. I kind of miss these masteries outside of arena, because the game right now is so unfriendly to recall masteries. Offensive stat focus, critical rating, I suppose. Frank doesn't land a ton of crits, critical hits by default. His signature ability bolsters that, but again, that's very situational. So crit rating there. Defensive stat focus, block penetration, fair enough, because you will want to parry him a lot. Recommended relics, Winter Soldier Battle Gust, that makes sense. He inflicts incinerates, his skill. Or Bullseye stat cast, similar to what was previously stated about the critical rating. Stat focus, the critical rating, okay, fair enough. So I think Winter Soldier is kind of cooler. Not a defender by the looks of it at all, or barely a defender, you could say. Let's go over his potential matchups, right? One glaring weakness immediately. Photon. And it's like one of the most dominant science defenders. She switches off willpower. So if you're meant to get smacked in the face, and she switches off your willpower, you're not going to be recovering that health at all. So it doesn't look like he's going to be a good photon counter to me at all, which is bad for skill champion, right? Then what else can we take a look at in science class? I know, Spider-Woman is quite hot defender, right? Does he stop a Wade at all? No? Okay. So a champion that's designed to get hit in the face, that will have a ton of debuffs on him. Yes, he will have willpower healing, but sorry about that. To me, like, in theory, it doesn't seem like he would be a good option. I don't, like, at all. Unless I'm missing something. Because, again, you don't rely on hitting them while she's stunned and doing that. You're relying on hitting them from your unstoppable, which she can, evade at any given point. And so I don't know how well he's gonna do against Spider-Woman. I have my doubts. It's not immediately clear to me that he's gonna be good against Spider-Woman either. And obviously there's some random void that can be running around, and he's a skill champion now that debuffs himself. So that's not going to be very nice. And then what else do we have going on side slash? High evolutionary, I think he's going to do well. Sure. As long and not because he's geared well, because again, he doesn't do anything to the auto block. So you'll still have to be very careful when you do this fight. But I do think he's capable of doing it because of the debuffs inflicted on you. You're going to get exhaustions, you're going to get whatnot, and you know that's going to be helpful to you. And he does seem like he's going to be decently good against high evolutionary, even though I don't think the fight's going to be super easy. But you know, sure, he's going to be good against high evolutionary. Well, yeah. Oh yeah, and Void's Incinerate means obviously he's not going to be good against that. And I don't know. I genuinely have my doubts. A lot of them. Because of his playstyle, because of his matchup sheet. Let me know what you guys think. But I'm kind of worried for this guy. Which is a shame, because I want him to be a good champion because he kind of looks cool. But fair enough. Do let me know. I'll see you soon. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about